Informed, outspoken, wild, fearless, hardly ever politically correct. This is the Fantasy Football Dudes Podcast.
Happy Dudes Day. This is the Fantasy Football Dudes Podcast. It is Monday, August 23rd. This is episode 45, believe it or not. This is our Dudes episode. We're going to tell you who our dudes are this year. We got some fan mail, some surveys. Remember, guys, don't be rude. Tell a dude, the Fantasy Football Dudes, where fantasy football becomes reality. For more information, go to www.thefantasyfootballdudes.com or email us at tffdudes@gmail.com. We really appreciate all the emails and reviews we get. You guys got your dudes ready? These guys can be three of any position, and these are just kind of guys, not first rounders, guys that we're really targeting, wanting to get on all of our teams. You want to start it off, Jordan?
I got my first guy I have as a receiver. It's no secret. No secret of who this is, or I'm not going off the board here. Stay on brand. This is my guy. It's been my guy since last season. Diontae Johnson. He's being drafted. Give me 1 sec. He's being drafted, I think, like in the 8th round. But he's just someone who I do think like he's probably more of a PPR guy or a half-point PPR than a standard guy. I'll give you guys that. But hold on, let me just look at where his ADP is. He's being drafted in the 5th, 6th round, number 22 overall at the receiver position. I just think that's too low, especially in a PPR league. I think he will be drafted higher than that, or he should be drafted higher than that. I really think that he's gonna have a big year. I think they look to him more than Chase Claypool. I know Chase Claypool will have the bigger like plays, but Johnson's a guy who's going to get 10 targets a game, 15 targets a game, 8 catches. Look at his game log from last year. He started off the year really slow. Like, he had 2 big weeks to start. Then it was a tough middle ground in there. He was hurt a little bit. He played games, got hurt. But if you look at his last 8 games, it's money. It's 10 targets, 11 targets, 16 targets, 13 targets. A lot of touchdowns in there mixed in, but 8 catches. I mean, he's going to be an 8-catch guy, 80 yards, the possible touchdown mixed in there. I just think I think Diontae Johnson's going to be really solid for you, really safe. I don't think he's going to disappoint you. He may not have those huge weeks, but he's going to be consistent week in and week out.
Yeah, it seems like he's volumes there. People are really talking up this Steelers passing attack this year, which I really don't blame them. But no one's really talking about Ben Roethlisberger. Are you completely pumping the brakes on him, Jordan? Or are you kind of willing to stream him, take him late? Everyone's talking about how good these receivers are. I'm just curious why no one wants to take the quarterback.
Juju. I don't think Diontae Johnson and Juju can be productive at the same time, because they're both very similar receivers. Claypool's a deep threat. I just like Diontae because the volume's going to be there, and I'm a big volume guy. Like, I want guys with volume. I don't really care about the huge 50-yard touchdowns. I'd rather get the 8 catches, 80 yards, the guaranteed targets. But I think Ben. But even if you think of Ben Roethlisberger throws for 250 yards and 2 touchdowns every week, that's not huge fantasy games, but that could be enough to support a couple of receivers every week. I think this tight end is going to be in play, Pat Freiermuth. I'm not huge on Ben. He also provides zero upside on the ground. There's going to be no rushing yards from him, so yeah, that takes away a lot too. I think he could have some streaming value. Or if you're in a 2 QB league, definitely has a lot of value there. I think Roethlisberger's in play there. But yeah, I just think it's going to be Diontae and then one of Claypool or Juju every week, or the tight end. I think Diontae will be the constant there in that offense.
And you said what round are you trying to try?
If he's going to go in the 5th, 6th round, maybe the 5th, 4th round, he's someone that I want on my teams. Sure, I'll end up with Diontae on a lot of my teams. He's just a guy that I want to have. I like his skill set, and I don't think he's flashy, so people don't. The name value is not there. Chase Claypool is probably the receiver that on the Steelers that people are going to be like, oh yeah, I want to draft Chase Claypool. I bet every other person would be Claypool over Deontay, and I'm going to go Deontay over Claypool any day of the week.
Yeah. Yeah, and Juju's just marketed himself
Juju.
That people
Deontay
talk
Johnson is
about
the
him.
least
Yeah.
recognizable name of that three.
Okay.
Probably has the least TikTok followers too.
Okay. All right, Phil. Who's your first guy, Phil?
Yeah, so I actually went with Kyle Pitts, believe it or not. So I am he is someone for me. I know that tight end rookies generally aren't, come out super hot out of the gate. But with Julio not there, obviously there's still Calvin Ridley is going to be a big deal there in Hotlanta there. But I think that Kyle Pitts is going to take up enough. He's going to have enough targets to really make a difference on the team. And I don't think he's someone that I'm not getting him in the first 3 rounds really. And I think that there could be a possibility that he goes earlier just because of, I think, name recognition. I think people are excited about him. But ideally I pick him up in the 4th. I think that's sort of where he's going right now. Late 3rd, depending on what your league looks like. But yeah, Kyle Pitts, I think he's going to be a pretty big deal in that offense. And like I mentioned with Julio Jones out, I think he makes a lot of sense in terms of how many targets he's going to be taking up.
Bad defense and probably going to air the ball out. It's hard for me to not really want anyone on Atlanta. Probably my biggest knock on him is just he's a rookie, which probably isn't fair really, but that's my biggest knock on Pitts. The guy looks like a freak so far. So,
Jordy, what do you think about Pitts?
It won't happen
4th?
for me, but I can't knock anyone that takes him there. Just the tight end position is not something that I draft early. I just won't do it. But at the same time, Kyle Pitts is not your normal tight end. He's basically a receiver that gets labeled as a tight end. So
correct.
Yeah, I think I'm high on Pitts. I think he's gonna have a great year. Just if he was being drafted in the 6th or 7th round, I'd be a little more interested. But that early, it probably just won't happen for me. But yeah, I can't.
Does he turn into maybe not even his first year, but does he turn into a Kelsey type guy with a ton of red zone targets? That's what I'm saying. Even in his first year, he has a possibility of being, again, rookie tight ends aren't usually don't come out of the gate swinging in that first year. But I think anyhow, I think he easily turns into a Kelsey type guy in the red zone very consistently, where he's getting a ton of targets there,
Phil,
which is obviously could be super beneficial.
At Florida at all last year?
Florida? No, I've seen highlights that maybe you sent me or we talked about.
The guy was
but
an
I
absolute
actually
touchdown machine. That's all he did. He had 12 touchdowns. He had 12 touchdowns in 8 games.
Yeah,
on 43 catches. So if you Phil,
he was a
that
Heisman
means
candidate, right?
Over 25% of his catches were touchdowns. 12 touchdowns on 43 catches.
So, and with Ridley there, he's the number 2 probably. So, and he's a little more of a he's more of a receiver, Jordan
he
said.
He is a touchdown machine.
Yeah,
it's
correct.
probably
he was
not
in college.
A little bit of a cheat code potentially.
So I think get him in the 4th though is not. I mean, look at where Kelsey's getting taken in the 1st. For some days. If you think about his potential, I'm not saying he's going to be Kelsey. I think that's a pretty big stretch to say he's going to be Travis Kelsey, but to say he could maybe be in that style of tight end or conversation, I don't know. Maybe you get away with taking him in the 3rd and you don't look like as big of an idiot. I don't know. That's my thought.
Well, what seems to happen in tight ends is when 1 goes, 2 go, then 3 go, then all of a sudden there's usually a run. Then you get into that tight end dead zone and it's over. Then you might as well wait. There's what just seems to happen in most drafts I'm in. But my first dude I'm going for, this is going to be a 2nd round pick. I think Najee Harris is going to be really good. I know the Steelers maybe have some question marks on their offensive line, but I think they have such a good passing game that they're going to be able to spread teams out and be able to run the ball. I really think they like Najee. and the volume is just going to be there. He's
Yeah.
the guy. Matt Canada is going to get creative and find ways to give him the ball. He's having a good preseason. I think Najee checks all the boxes. I think if you can get him as your second running back at the turn, especially, you're gonna be really happy with him in the second round. I don't know how far he'll go into the second. though.
Will he go into the second though?
He'll make it in the second, I believe. He's not gonna be a first round guy, I don't think, unless things really change.
Where is he going right now?
15 overall.
Yeah. Unless you have some Steeler fan that just absolutely wants him, which
Well,
I guess is a
there's-
possibility.
Who else is like him where they're not? It's not a
Najee or
committee.
Antonio Gibson?
Well, here's the thing. I want Antonio Gibson,
Well, they're
but I
being
think you could
drafted,
get
like,
both of
back
those
to
guys,
back.
is what I'm saying. Yeah, he's my
I'm
turn
taking
guy.
Antonio Gibson there.
Like, I
but
think if you're at the end,
I'm just
Yeah.
not. Here's my thing.
No.
Why is that,
I'm
Jordy?
not-
Why is that?
No, I just-
rookie
I-
or
Do you guys think the Steelers are going to be good? But I don't think they're going to be good
think
like
they
where
will
they're
be
blowing
good.
out teams. I think it's going to be they're playing from behind, like a touchdown behind, or. But like I want to see.
don't they have a pretty good defense?
Yeah, but
though?
like they're not. I want to see that O line. I don't trust that O line. You know, like I said, preseason is hard to tell exactly with the opposing defenses. Look, Najee's going to be fine, but does he have like? Is he
running
that
back
guy
13.
who can really like win you a league? I don't know.
I think if he's your second running back, I think he'll be.
And you don't
pretty
think they're going to
happy.
use?
But
They're not going to use.
Like, I have
they still have other guys there. They have Jalen Samuels who can catch the ball. McFarland's there. There's another guy there. Who am I forgetting about? Snell's there.
you're thinking of Snell, and I don't think Snell's.
I mean, they're
going
going to use those guys, especially I don't
I
think
think-
Najee will be using the passing game, and that is.
They said they have to do the play action with the Steelers, and Big Ben doesn't like it. I think they have to establish a run to really open it up. But I think Najee's the guy that
What
can
is
help them
Najee's,
establish that play
pass
action
blocking like?
and the run.
I'm sure he didn't do a ton of that at Alabama.
No, I don't think he needed to. I don't
And
think
so
he
that-
needed to. So I'm sure.
Hey,
I think
early
he
on,
checks
that
most
can
of the
hurt a
boxes.
rookie
though.
running back though is if you can't pass block, they're gonna sub. They're gonna have other guys in there. I know, not to go completely off topic, but James Robinson right now is going to be the starter in Jacksonville, and they're saying a lot of it is because he's so great at pass blocking. His pass blocking is so good that he's taking away just based on purely that alone. He will take snaps away from Travis Etienne because of that. And I don't know. I haven't looked into a ton of Najee Harris's pass blocking. He may be good at it. If he is, that's definitely a plus. But I know with rookie running backs, that can be a thing is that they struggle in pass blocking because they don't do a lot of that in college. So, yeah.
he caught 43 passes in college? I mean, he's not at least. And sorry, not
Yeah.
total. In his last year
Yeah.
of college, he caught 43 passes. I don't know. I would imagine it's probably not great, his pass blocking.
I just think he's one of the biggest fantasy discounts this year. I think second round.
I mean,
think
people
he'll
were
be really
saying that
happy
about
there.
Clyde
I don't know-
Edwards-Helaire
I don't
last
know.
year.
in
too,
redraft. Yeah, but he was going like top.
He
was
might
going
get there with
early
Najee.
first
He was
round,
going
wasn't he?
back.
Yeah, I think he's gonna go. I don't think he's gonna make it to the second.
Yeah,
And maybe that's
he's
just me.
He will
Maybe
be
that's
better
just-
than Clyde Edwards-Helaire last year.
I mean, he's in a worse offense.
I
than
think
what
he's younger than Clyde. even.
Helaire.
His strength of schedule for running
Yeah.
back rank is third easiest.
Yeah.
according to Fantasy Pros.
30s.
Yeah,
Yes.
we'll see. I
Yeah.
just also like.
No, I think that's third difficult. Like they have the Steelers
They
have a
should have
difficult
a
schedule
difficult
this
schedule.
year, Trent. Yeah,
It
they
says
have
strength of schedule running back rank third easy.
Yeah, it does
I don't
mean
know what that means.
Oh, I think their overall schedule was, I think,
well,
pretty high
it may
in terms
just
of
be
overall
Honestly, preseason
because of the
it doesn't-
offenses, maybe.
Yeah,
the
that they're
defensive
playing?
lines.
Or
they're
excuse
playing.
me.
Yeah,
This,
but if,
yeah,
but
sorry.
if the teams are good overall, though they're playing, they might be down in games. I just think they're going to air the ball out a little more.
Yeah.
I want to see that O-line. I guess that's what I'll say. That O-line has to prove something to me. I can't get over what I watched last year and how bad they were. They got no push running the ball.
Yeah, I don't want him in the first round.
Yeah, but who's
This is a
excited to play for
second-round guy.
Mason Rudolph? Like, it's not like they were like, Mason was leading them.
They were competing in the playoffs.
I
Still.
just
Like
like-
they were trying to make the playoffs.
Yeah,
they
they were
would look
10
better
and 0.
without him.
They were the worst 10 and 0 team of all
Exactly.
time. Possibly.
Anyways, am I up next?
Exactly.
But yeah,
Well, they
Yeah,
did.
you're up
For what
next.
it's worth, their schedule last year was not. I've said this, the Seahawks started like 6-1, but they played trash teams. I'm just saying that it's not like the Steelers are playing. Look at their schedule last year. That's all I'm saying. Should they have been 10-0? Yes. Who they played was basically terrible.
Phil's going to tell you his real guys after this, but it's Russell Wilson,
Tyler
DK
Lockett.
Metcalf,
The
and
full Seahawks stack right there.
Tyler Lockett.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's right, baby. That's right. And Luke Wilson, who's no longer on the Seahawks, still my boy. If you can't tell, I just beat my chest and blew a kiss up at this
Thanks
guy.
for the play-by-play.
For those not
Okay.
watching,
My next
We are on YouTube. I will put the YouTube
my
link in the
next
show
guy
notes.
is
Yeah.
Calvin Ridley. I'm gonna go along with that Falcons theme. Here's the deal. Calvin Ridley being drafted at 21 overall, wide receiver 6. I think Calvin Ridley's the top three receiver this year, and he's not being drafted like that. I think he's right there with Tyreek, Devontae. I mean, we got who's being drafted over him: Diggs, Hopkins, Metcalf. I think Calvin Ridley is easily going to have a better season than Metcalf and Hopkins. I'm all over the Ridley train this year. I like Ridley a lot. He was the third best receiver last year, so I don't see why that is what's changing there. If anything, their offense got better. Julio was I don't think people realize Julio was hurt all last year. He barely played. I don't see. I just don't see why he's puts up a year like he did last year, and then all of a sudden people aren't seeing him like that. So I don't know. He's a top 3 receiver for me. I think it's him or Diggs right there competing for that 3 spot behind Devontae and Tyreek. And honestly, like if Devontae or Tyreek drop a little bit, I think Ridley could shoot up there. I like Ridley a lot. Just last year's stats. I mean, the guy had almost 1,400 yards receiving with 9 touchdowns on 90 catches. That could turn into 100 catches. The yards stay the same, maybe 10 touchdowns. I think he's going to repeat. I think what he did last year is sustainable. So I'm all over Ridley this year. If you can get him in the second round, like a couple mock drafts I've done, I've gotten him like back of the second round. I love that. So I'm all over it. Back of the second round.
Would you take him? Would you take him early second round?
Depends what running backs are on the board there. But yeah, I possibly could. I like Ridley a lot.
Okay. Phil?
no, I have no. I don't know.
Oh,
what,
no, I'm asking who your guy is.
Okay, gotcha. Sorry, I was
Um,
looking. I thought you were looking for my opinion there. So my guy.
I like Ridley.
Yeah, I like Ridley too. I'm definitely not against what Jordy's saying there.
I've come around.
Yeah, considering you had him ranked at like number 12
Yeah.
to start when we did our initial wide receiver rankings.
You do come around though. I mean, you drafted Michael Thomas not 3 weeks ago in a fantasy league that we're in.
That was a dynasty league, so it is a little different.
You still drafted him though, and you hate him
I do hate him.
as a friend.
If he walked into this garage right now, I'd act like I didn't even
No,
know
you'd
him.
be like, why is this guy walking into my garage right now?
Yeah.
I'd give him the cold shoulder. Phil, you're up.
All right. So my guy. So I'm gonna go with a guy that actually a lot of people are staying away from, and generally that's definitely not the right thing to do. But I've done it with Zach Wilson before. People came around. I ended up being right about this. So I'm gonna go with another one of these, and just hope that I don't just get ridiculed online by however many followers we have, because a lot of
Probably
people
gonna
are saying stay away from this guy. But I want to be clear, he's not going to be my running back 1. I think he's going to fall a little bit later, but I do think he's a solid pick. I'm going with J.K. Dobbins. I think he is a solid running back too. Right now, he is.
You're not joking.
I'm not joking. I actually am going with. Stupid. That's not even funny. Right now, where's he going here? I think he's at least like running back. I think like 13.
I'm seeing 15, Phil.
Give me a second here. Yeah, 15. So he's 15. I think we were talking a little bit even before the pod. He's probably going to fall maybe even lower than that. They also have Gus there, and I think he's still going to take. Obviously, every single year they talk about Lamar passing a little bit less than he did before. He was the RB1 there last year. I do think that continues to split, and I do think that J.K. takes up some more carries. And then also he was targeted more last year than Gus, and I think that will continue to be the case. So I think that as a running back too, he is definitely the guy that I want. I don't think you're getting Najee as a running back too. I think he's getting picked up early, which then obviously opens up other spots for guys who would be who you may want to get in the first round, falling into the second round. But I think J.K. Dobbins is a good option there. And even if he had to be your running back one, I don't think he would be in the worst spot ever, given his share, his targets, things like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, do you want to egg bet Najee versus J.K.?
No,
better fantasy finish.
No, So here's the thing:
just
Najee would have been
just for fun.
Najee would have been. I have an egg bet of Najee versus Saquon with Jordan.
That's
I'm never going to go
You're
against
right.
Najee. Najee he's my actual dude, but you sniped him under me, so I had to go with someone else.
I stole that pick from you.
What'd you say?
I stole that pick from you.
You did. Najee's not falling in the second round. You can quote me on that.
Yeah, Adam Schefter just tweeted Monday, but feels like Wentz day, so Wentz is practicing. But J.K. Dobbins, he is falling. I like him. I liked him in college. Lamar scares me, so you're probably right. He probably is going to fall a little bit.
I think the Gus Edwards snaps is probably the most concerning thing about Dobbins, but I think they figure that out. I think they figure out that Dobbins is the more explosive, more athletic guy. So I'll trust Harbaugh that he's going to figure it out. But I think Edwards is going to have a role there. They love Edwards there, but they got rid of Mark Ingram, I think, which helps. That third guy definitely helps. I mean, Dobbins. I had to look at his game log, but I'm pretty sure early on he was not involved in the last half of the year. Once they kind of sat Ingram, he got more of a role in that offense. I think they'll use Dobbins plenty. I think Dobbins will be fine.
He was targeted more in the passing game, and I want to say he probably had more within 100 more attempts rushing than
he's going to be I would probably think like a 65-35 split, Trent. It's kind of somewhere along those lines.
Yeah, I think so. I'm worried with this extra game that there's going to be a little more committees than normal, but I think J.K. is their guy. And, hey, you have to keep Lamar healthy. So they aren't going to be able to run him quite like they want to, but it seems like the receivers are getting hurt. But I think it's okay where he's going. I think is the right spot.
And he doesn't have a bad – they don't have a bad schedule either.
And you have to focus on Lamar. So it's not terrible. And, he's kind of the guy there. With that, I was talking about Ravens receivers. My dude I have here, I have Mark Andrews. I like to target tight ends that lead their team in targets. And I think Mark Andrews is the number one receiving option in Baltimore. That's who Lamar Jackson's looking for, is Mark Andrews. Marquise Brown, I believe, has is it a groin or hamstring injury? Is someone else hurt over there too, one of the receivers? Bateman's hurt, so I think it's just going to end up being Lamar going to Mark Andrews. Maybe this bumps him up a little bit, but he's still the fourth or fifth tight end going off the board. So I think if Mark Andrews is there for me in the fourth round, I am going to grab him, I believe, fourth or fifth, because I think he's going to lead their team in receiving yards and targets.
Would you take – so, Trent, that's said, would you take Andrews over Pitts?
I think I'd take Andrews over Pitts just because of the camaraderie there between Andrews and Lamar, and just he's Lamar's guy. That's who Lamar goes to, is Mark Andrews.
Yeah, he
He's
could
the
have
number
a few really big weeks early on. I'm just looking. Yeah, Bateman's going to be out. Bateman had groin surgery, I'm pretty sure. So he'll come back sometime.
Yeah, that sounds
sometime
terrible.
in December and September. And Marquise Brown looks like he has some type of muscle injury. Hamstring. So
seems like
they're
those
going to
linger.
play it safe.
Yeah.
That was 2 weeks ago. So we'll see. I think he'll be ready by week 1.
Yeah.
And I'm honestly higher on the Browns. I mean, not the Browns. Marquise Brown in general than the field. But, yeah, I mean, Mark Andrews is the guy there. So,
Yeah. I like Marquise Brown. He's another guy I really liked in college, but I feel like those injuries, those muscle
Especially
injuries,
for a
they
guy
kinda
like-
linger.
a guy like
I feel
him,
like it was
right?
hamstrings. A speed guy, like I just feel like that's always always going to bug you. So hopefully they can get him back and he'll be a discount. I feel like in the later rounds, Marquise Brown could be a huge steal, but that's why I'm going with Mark Andrews because he is the target leader of that team. And that's just
going
who
back and
Lamar
staying along
has
those lines, going back to Dobbins, I
chemistry
didn't
with.
think about that, but that could help Dobbins in the pass game a little bit too. A little more usage for him early on.
Yes.
And if he can do that early on, it could solidify that role for him going forward. I'll stay with the second-year running back with my third guy. I'm going to go DeAndre Swift. And this is a guy kind of like similar to Dobbins, is kind of falling down the draft board a little bit. I wish I could look at where, I mean, he's being drafted number 19 overall. And, 21, 18 on some sites, 19, 16. Guys like Chris Carson, Josh Jacobs, CEH being drafted ahead of him. I think that's just nuts. I get it. He's been hurt all training camp. I'm sure that hasn't helped. You see that out, the injury tag next to him on your website, and I think that just leans to people not wanting to draft him. I think this is someone you can get, in the end of the second, early third, maybe even later, just depending on how your draft shakes out. If you can get DeAndre Swift in the 4th round, like if you can go running back, receiver, DeAndre Swift, I think that's a great draft right there. Like if you had an early pick and you were able to get like Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, DJ Moore, and then DeAndre Swift, like that's a good 4 picks. Or maybe Ridley, Jefferson, Swift, like that. I'd be pretty happy with that. I mean, Swift is someone who last year he was not used very much early on, right? Only had, in the first 7 weeks, he only had 1 game with double-digit rushing attempts. But the last like few weeks that he was active, we got 13, 16. He was hurt for a few weeks, and 15, 10, 12. A couple touchdowns mixed in there. He had 8 touchdowns, though, on only 114 carries. He was used a lot in their passing game. I just think DeAndre Swift's going to be the guy there. They don't really have a whole lot of other guys there. Who do they have there that I'm missing, Trent? They have, Jamal Williams.
Jamal.
There. But Jamal Williams has never shown
Yeah.
the capability of being the guy, right? He's a 3rd down running back. They'll sprinkle him in there. I just have a hard time believing they're not going to give DeAndre Swift as much as he can handle in that offense. They're a young team, not going anywhere.
What do you think they're going to be? You don't think that the fact that they're not going to be great will hurt him a little bit? Like they're going to struggle.
I think he's going to be using the
think they'll
passing
throw
game a
it to
ton.
him,
And
though.
he's a dynamic running back. He's really good. Phil, he
He's
had
going
8
in the right
touchdowns.
spot.
And you said you're taking him.
If
You're
I
taking
get him
him
in the 4th round,
or
I'm
5th.
ecstatic.
Which one did you say?
But I'm not afraid. Like, I'm just saying,
Okay.
I'm drafting DeAndre Swift over CEH, David Montgomery, Josh Jacobs, Chris Carson. There's no question in my mind I'm drafting him over those guys.
Yeah. I might take Carson over
That's
him.
what
That's it.
Well, I mean,
That's the
for
only.
obvious
That's the only
reasons, but
one. but
Carson, yeah.
That's the only
Why
one.
not
But
Carson, Jordan? Why not? Why
Pete
would
Carroll
you take him
sucks.
over Carson?
Fair point.
Yeah, but then Carson's going to get a
I
lot
don't
of
trust that
touches,
he's
though.
just going to use Chris Carson.
Oh, you think he's going to use? You think he'll? Well, I mean, Rashad Penny is. I don't think he's
Has
looked
Rashad
that great.
Penny ever looked great?
I
And he got work.
Yeah, but who's
Phil.
Yeah, but who's the other guy? DJ Dallas
They
is
gave
basically on
Carlos
special
Hyde
teams.
carries last year.
That's fair.
And Travis Homer.
But
And
Chris
Travis
Carson was also
Travis
banged up,
Homer.
just for what it's worth.
Phil's about to,
Hey,
go
isn't Homer still there?
Sterling
Phil? Wait,
Shepard on you right
Travis
now,
Homer's
Jordan,
still
for
there,
calling
right?
out the Seahawks.
They will use Travis Homer.
He's
Pete
there,
Carroll
yeah,
loves
he's
that
still
guy.
Okay.
I
Phil, they
disagree,
used
but
him the last 2
I,
years significantly.
I don't think
You
they
won't-
use him this year. I'll egg bet that Travis Homer gets less than. I don't know. I don't know how many carries I want to egg bet here.
We are not betting on fourth
Anyways,
string running backs getting carries.
Just
I'm
to
about
wrap it
to.
up, I like Swift a lot. I'm drafting Swift. If you can get him in the 4th round, I think that's awesome. I think he's going to be a top 13 running back this year. I'm not worried with the Lions' offense. I think they figure out ways to use him. He had 8 touchdowns and like 50. What did I say? 8 touchdowns and 114 carries last year. That tells me that he knows how to get the ball in the end zone. I like Swift a lot. So
Okay, Phil, who's your last dude?
My last dude, for obvious reasons, is Kyler Murray. I don't know how much I really need to say there, but getting him in 3rd or 4th would be totally great. I think right now he's listed as QB3, but I think that people will. I think he's going to fall a little bit lower than that, potentially. Guys, I think who could go in front of him are Lamar Jackson. I could see guys drafting Aaron Rodgers ahead of him. I think he's probably realistically around 5, even though the stats would say otherwise, I guess. But he is my dude. And I don't know how much explanation we need here, but
With those running capabilities and
Yeah.
everything.
running.
I'm
He
not gonna argue
claims
that
he
he's not
claims that
good.
he doesn't want to. He claims that he's really trying to tone it down this year. I mean, again, going back to the Lamar conversation, I think he'll have to rely on it a little bit, but I still think he's going to be extremely valuable there in the running game. That is. Jordy Trent.
I can't argue that he's probably going to get lots of rushing yards. If you can get him in the 5th round, I think that's a steal. You're probably going to have to go 3rd, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And I think if you got him 3rd round, I don't think you should be that mad. It seems like everybody's reaching up on quarterbacks more and more. I do think you have a little bit of an advantage taking Kyler. My only thing on Kyler that he might fall is he finished kind of poorly last year due to that injured shoulder. Maybe people fade him a little bit just because of that. I don't. Where do you think Kyler's going to go, Jordan?
He's going 30, just for what it's worth. He's going 37th overall there, Jordy.
Kyler 37. Yeah.
So like right at the beginning of the 4th or end of the
This
3rd.
is just another situation where he just probably won't end up on my teams, just the way I draft. I'm not going to draft a quarterback that early. But yeah, I can't. Like, I think he is the clear number 3 quarterback behind Mahomes and Allen. So, yeah, I like Kyler. If you can get Kyler like in the 5th round somehow, I'd love that. 4th round is probably the sweet spot for him, though. Mahomes in the 2nd, Allen in the 3rd, Kyler in the 4th.
Yeah. You want me to finish up with what I got right here?
Let's hear it, Trent.
My last one is I have DJ Moore, and wide receiver for the Carolina Panthers. I think he's going to have a good year this year. Pro Football Focus said that 20% of his catches last year were uncatchable. I think Sam Darnold will be an upgrade from Teddy Bridgewater. I also think with Christian McCaffrey there, teams are going to have to focus on him, not on DJ Moore. I think Robbie Anderson's going to help there. Who's that rookie wide receiver, Jordan?
Terrence Marshall, who's looked good in the preseason.
Terrence Marshall. Yeah, I think Terrence Marshall's going to help DJ Moore. I almost made Sam Darnold my guy here, but there's no need to draft Sam Darnold. You can get him on waiver wires. I think it's going to take a couple weeks for people to think he's the real deal. But with Christian McCaffrey there, it's going to really simplify that whole offense. I think DJ Moore, where he's going right now, you'll be really happy to have him there. And he is going in the Their wide receiver strength of schedule says number 2 according to Fantasy Pros. Where is this
He's like
guy
in the
going? I believe
20,
he is
21 receiver, 50s in the 50s overall. Him and Deontay Johnson are it's like Lockett.
He's not
like Cooper Kupp, Adam Thielen, Lockett, DJ Moore, Deontay Johnson, all kind of within 10 picks of each other.
Yeah. I like DJ Moore. I think play action, like I said, he'll be open a lot more. I think Darnold.
He's also more of like I think
be a lot
last year
better
towards the end of the
than Teddy
year he
Bridgewater.
turned into more of a possession guy with a lot of volume too, and I think I like DJ Moore a lot. The only Darnold scares me more than I think he scares you guys, just because we're talking about Marshall, CMC, Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore, but at the same time, me saying that like Teddy Bridgewater supported all that last year, right? And Sam Darnold at the worst is a lateral move from Teddy Bridgewater, right? But last year, Curtis Samuel had value. DJ Moore came on really late.
DJ
Robbie
Moore
Anderson
had
was
value.
strong pretty much all throughout the year. And then their running back, Mike Davis was awesome. Yeah, it was
Mike
awesome
Davis,
for them.
Ham.
So I do think that that he can be a very solid fantasy. I like him. I like him a lot. I like DJ Moore right there too.
Yeah, I think Sam Darnold will be fantasy relevant this year. As crazy it sounds, but I think DJ Moore could potentially be this year's Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
I think he could make that jump where it's just like, whoa, you got this guy in the 4th or 5th round and he's, a top 5 wide receiver. Like, you're going to be able to get this guy, everyone's going to have an opportunity to get DJ Moore. So, I think that does it with our dudes. So for Jordan, we had Deontay Johnson, Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Swift. For Phil, we had Kyle Pitts, J.K. Dobbins, Kyler Murray. For myself, Trent, we had Najee Harris, Mark Andrews, DJ Moore. And then we actually got some Dear Dudes, some dude mail. So let's get after that.
Dear Dudes.
All right. Our first question is from Brian_Jansen. And it says, I'm in a random keeper league with some dudes. Should I keep Kamara as my first pick or Montgomery as my 6th? I think you got to keep Kamara here, guys. I don't know if this is half point PPR standard, but you got to keep Kamara, right?
I agree with that. Because Montgomery, I don't know. Montgomery, I don't feel it's honestly Montgomery in the 6th is probably decent value, considering he's probably going in the 3rd or the 4th round. But Kamara, you can't. I just think you keep Kamara.
I almost put David Montgomery as one of my guys just because of the volume, and he had like a groin injury the first 8 weeks of the season last year, and then at the end of the year he came on really strong. So I'm maybe that injury had something to do with it. So Montgomery kind of intrigues me a little bit.
Hurt too.
That too, and he's back. So speaking of the Bears, you see that Mitchell Trubisky revenge game? He lit the Bears up. So don't know what you got till it's gone, Phil.
Mitchy Boo.
And then Kamara King Crunch. Alvin Kamara has his own cereal now. You can get it at Rouse's. You can order it online. Part of it goes to charity, but thought that's kind of cool. Thought we'd throw that in there.
Is that your version of a box opening, Trent?
Yeah. Maybe I'll order some Kamara King Crunch. I don't know. It sounds pretty good. I
feel
delicious.
like it would be like is it peanut butter? What is the flavor?
I didn't read that. It's a purple box, Mardi Gras themed, yellow. He's on the cover. I think it's kind of like a Honey Bunches of Oats flavoring. So
I'm not a
HBO. You're an HBO guy, Phil.
I am an HBO guy. HBO
You're
guy.
just about to go off on Honey Bunches of Oats, and that's one of your favorites.
Yeah, no, I have nothing. No, did you say? I don't think you said Honey Bunch of Oats. You said something else.
I'm glad to know you're paying attention, Phil.
That's what I said.
Hey, there are times when Trent talks to me where I'm just like, you lost me when you started. I don't know what I'm saying here. Let's just move on. So let's go to the next thing.
Last question from G.Marshall42. Can you please define fade? It's offensive that you assume that your audience knows what you're talking about.
I
There's
love
a lot
that.
of definitions
That is
of
so
fade.
good.
So yeah, I mean, I can't blame the guy.
I would define fade as something hot that comes off the barbecue. That's or smoker. That's what I would say. Meat. I would refer to meat as fade. Would you say that's fair, Phil?
Yeah.
What would you define fade as?
Well, I was very anti-fade, at least the start of this fade trend that Trent started. There are times when I'm like, man, I wish we would have said something besides fade because I don't know, whatever. Anyhow, I think I would say fade is anything that's friendly to eat around others.
Fade. Anything that's friendly to eat around others. I like that, Phil. So
Yeah.
yeah. All right. Well,
Hopefully
I think
that answers
about,
the question for G. Marshall.
yeah,
Because that's a fair question.
It is a fair question. Have you? I haven't. I've been out of smoking. Should we talk about any smoke, Phil? I know your barbecue's at your dad's house, so
Yeah, I've been working on this Traeger that I basically inherited. My dad took my Pit Boss and is now currently using it, and I am working on a beaten up Traeger that I'm working on trying to fix. So I have not
That'll
smoked
take you-
anything.
yeah. I was in Oklahoma last week, so I went to Earl's, got some ribs. They were really good. Had a burger called a Sticky Finger that had some jalapenos and peanut butter in it. That was really good. So the Oklahoma barbecue scene was pretty good. I enjoyed it. Saw my mom. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, went to Flavor Town. So yeah, pretty good. You guys got any closing remarks? We'll see you guys next week. Other than that, Phil?
No, excited for Hard Knocks tonight. Getting that episode. Jordan,
Yeah,
are
that'll be
you
on-
watching? Are
That'll
you
be
watching
on.
Hard
That'll be on
Knocks?
Tuesday, Phil.
Sorry,
It's Monday.
I forget what day it is. Jordan, are you watching
No.
Hard Knocks? I'm not surprised, honestly, to hear that answer.
Yeah. So.
All right.
All right. Well, hey, we got our home drafts this year. It's basically draft week. I think I got 3 drafts this week. So good luck, guys. Remember, don't be rude. Tell a dude. We will see you guys next week.
This has been another episode of the Fantasy Football Dudes podcast. Remember to rate, review, and follow. For more information, go to www.thefantasyfootballdudes.com. And remember, we are sorry for absolutely nothing.